sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, Jake Waxman, Tom Lavalette, two guys talk sports. Let's go. All right. So I've been watching the Women's World Cup. I'm sure a lot of us have, and one thing that has been coming to mind has been a commercial advertised by Fox Sports for the FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. And the commercial goes as follows. What's it going to take to stop Team USA? And you've seen a couple different commercials, like ideas of what they could do to stop Team USA. I find that commercial most interesting because as of right now, stopping Team USA actually looks pretty easy right now. I'm not lying. Right now, I gotta be honest, I don't see a three-peat coming for the USA women's soccer team. I just don't see it happening this time around. And the reasons are as follows. Based on what I'm seeing, the team is both too young and too old. So you're probably wondering, what do I mean by that? So, to summarize it up, the team has too many young guns who really are either getting their feet wet in their first World Cup or very inexperienced, to say the least. Just inexperience is plenty all around in terms of for the younger members. There's some good young players on this, good young talent on this women's team, but right now they're inexperienced and they need more experience. And at the same time, the veterans, the few veterans that we do have on this USA women's soccer team, with the exception of, say, Lindsey Horan, they are not stepping up right now, and they are just not delivering enough for this Team USA women's soccer team to be successful enough to win a third straight World Cup and have that historic three-peat. We all know Megan Rapinoe is retiring after this World Cup, and she's been regulated to coming off the bench or substitutions, but as of right now, she's not doing much to help this USA team. Same with Alex Morgan's been struggling too. So really, the veterans that we still have on this team, we have mostly young guns on this team, but the veterans on this team just aren't doing enough to complement the young guns. And so the result is Team USA has scored in 3 group stage matches, only 4 goals scored, and most of those were by Lindsey Horan. So that's not good enough for a three-peat, to be honest. This team is going to need more. But right now, I don't think we're going to get it. And I think right now, I just got to be honest, I think the U.S. women's soccer team is at the point where they're starting to phase out the veterans in favor of younger and newer and talent. So, younger players with equal amounts of talent. So, they got the right idea. We see this is a younger USA team. They got the right idea of building for the future. It's just they need help from the veterans, and the veterans just have really been quiet for the U.S. women's soccer team. So that's my biggest observation. We can talk about we can talk about the attitude of this team. We can also talk about, some of the distractions. I won't go into that. Sure, they played a part, but I'm not going to talk about that. For the most part, this is just about a U.S. women's soccer team that is just too young and too old right now to make a deep World Cup run, from what I can see. Maybe they'll surprise me, and I hope they find a way to get that three-peat, but looking at things right now, I don't see it happening. It's just, right now, it's not there for Team USA. I don't think they're getting the three-peat, and it would not surprise me if they're one and done in the knockout stages. I mean, they play Sweden next, who has given Team USA a whole lot of trouble in the past. So, just my thoughts on the World Cup and the U.S. women's team, right? The performance of the U.S. women's team. It's, I will say this, right now, it's not looking too good for their chances at a three-peat, to say the least. And this is me being kind about it. All right. So, in less than a month, moving on, we got college football, and 1 month from now, Purdue football makes a return. And as you can tell, I'm excited. Got my Purdue shirt on, of course. So I'll give you guys my current thoughts about Purdue football. So, here's what we do know. New coach for the Purdue Boilermakers. This will be the beginning of the Ryan Walters era, or year 1 of the Ryan Walters era, and his first game will be the 2nd of September at home versus Fresno State. We know Hudson Card is going to be the quarterback for the Boilermakers. Starting quarterback for the Boilermakers, Hudson Card. That's what we do know. So now the big questions are, how's this defense going to look in Ryan Walters' first year? I imagine there's going to be a different structure. There's going to be more of a focus on defense this season, considering that's Ryan Walters' focus. He's a defensive-minded coach, but he brought in a great offensive coordinator in Graham Harrell. So the offense should still do well, although there's some questions on offense too, like who's going to be the go-to wide receiver this year. We got guys like T.J. Sheffield and Marshawn Rice. Of course, Rice is coming off an injury, so it'll be interesting to see if he's healthy. And a couple other guys like Gus Hartwig. Will he be healthy in time? So there's definitely some injuries that to be known to remark at. Of course, defense going to be a different look defense. How will they look, and who's going to be the big stars? You got Sanusi Kane, who I think who's probably our best player. Who else could step up? Maybe look for a guy like a Joe Strickland, who redshirted last year, could be a big contributor this year. And on offense, I mentioned Hudson Card starting at quarterback. One thing believe it or not, that I've had concerns about in the past that I don't have concerns about as of right now is the running game for Purdue. I think the running game is going to be very reliable for Purdue this season, because you got number 45, the guy we call Mock Train, or Devin Maccabee. I like to call him Maccabeast. He'll be the starting running back for Purdue, and complemented by a great backup in Dylan Downing, who's going to be in his third year and is probably his senior season at Purdue. I think with Maccabee and Downing, that's going to be a nice 1-2 punch for the running game at Purdue. I think they got a very underrated running game going into this season. So injuries, the look of the defense, and of course the wide receiver room. Those are probably my big concerns and big questions going into this season. So I have no idea how this season's going to go. I don't think Purdue's going to get back to the Big Ten championship game this year. I think they're going to miss out on it. I think it'll still be interesting to see who goes. And I mean, they could surprise some people, but who knows? I'm not sure what kind of a season it's going to be for Purdue, but I don't expect a season like the last two we've had. I wouldn't be surprised if we miss a bowl game this year. This is the first year of the Ryan Walters era, and there's a lot of retooling going around the team as a whole. New quarterback, different system of defense, and offense. You got some guys who graduated. It's going to be hard to replace a lot of those pieces, so we'll see how it goes. Still nonetheless, I'm excited. Ryan Walters, he's done a great job with recruiting. He's got the 26th best recruiting class for Purdue, from what I understand. And the energy he's brought into the building has just been phenomenal, off the charts. The energy is there, and recruiting's been good. We'll see what he does once Purdue takes the field. That's what I'm waiting for. So time will tell to see how well he does. But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt in the first year if things don't go well, because after all, a lot of different changes in that stuff. But overall, despite some of my questions and concerns and some things to feel positive and also things that I'm positive about, I'm excited for this season. I'm excited. New head coach for Purdue. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. Or what more he brings to the table. Really, really excited. Still stoked for Purdue football. Nevertheless, can't wait to get started. Still got a month to go. All right. Finally, and speaking of college football, so the Pac-12. Or should we call them the Pac-9, to be more accurate? They just lost another team. Colorado is going to be leaving and heading back to the Big 12 starting in 2024. What's going on? The Pac-12 is falling apart. The sky's falling there out west. Things are not looking good for the Pac-12 conference. Or now what's soon to be the Pac-9 conference, unless they lose more teams. And rumor has it they're going to lose more teams. Like Utah is looking to leave, Washington, and also Oregon. Of course, that's their biggest remaining name in the conference, Oregon, especially by the money they bring in. So the big problem for the Pac-12 has been getting a TV deal done for the 2024 season. That's part of the reason, and the revenues. The concerns over the revenues and the TV deal, that's the big reason why schools have been leaving. You remember, UCLA and USC, they're leaving the Pac-12 and joining the Big Ten, which still makes no goddamn sense to me. And now we got Colorado returning to the Big 12, which makes makes more sense than going to the USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. But money talks. And right now, there's a lot of problems with money in the Pac-12. And, it's hard. If you live where I live, which I live in the Midwest, I live in Michigan, it's hard to watch Pac-12 games. Because if you really want to watch a Pac-12 game, you have to stay up late on a Saturday night. Because those games don't begin until like 10 or 11 in the Eastern time zone. Because the games are out west. So, Western time zones and that stuff. So that makes it all the more difficult to watch a Pac-12 game, unless you're a really big fan of one of those Pac-12 schools. So it's hard to stay up late for those. And the fact that, and the brand, of course, has fallen apart in the last few years in terms of competitiveness. There's some good football out there, don't get me wrong, but there are stronger conferences. And right now, but the big reason why the Pac-12 is not doing so well is because they can't get a TV deal done. And that's the reason they're losing schools, because we have no idea what their TV package is going to look like next season. So this is just me trying to help you all make sense of what's going on. Other than like that, and the sky's falling on the Pac-12. This could be the end of that conference. And we could be down to just Power 4, to say the least. So the Pac-9, Pac-12, Pac-9, whatever you want to call it now, they got to get something done fast, or more schools are going to just walk right out the door. That's all. And right now, sky's falling there. Got to Pac-12, get on it. Salvage this situation. That's all I got to say. All right, sports fans, finally, we come to the end of this week's Wax on Wednesday. A reminder, if you have a question for me, leave it in the comments below, and it may be the question I answer for the next Wax on Wednesday. All right, on to this day in sports history, and on this day, the 2nd of August in the year 1918. So we had the Black Sox scandal going on. And on this day, members of the White Sox who threw away the World Series, or were accused of throwing away the World Series that year, they were acquitted on this day. But unfortunately, that good feeling probably didn't last long, because the next day, they're banned for life from baseball. So, another chapter in the infamous Black Sox scandal. All right, sports fans, that's it for this week's Wax on Wednesday. Thank you for watching. Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, signing off.